first thing I like to say is I wish I could show you all these forum posts, but the reason why this took so long to make this video is because I've been searching for it and I can't find it. Maybe it was removed, I don't know, but if someone here has the links to these forums, please give me the link so I can put the link below. The thing I'm worried about right now is that I might be giving some information that might be wrong, but I don't have the collaborative information, you know. So I'm going off the memory of the 2-3 times I read these posts. So if I get things wrong, I apologize, and if any corrections, I'll put it up. So welcome to another Terrible Tales of Gaming Horror. Today we're talking about the right to sell. Now this is on that age-old debate on basically, is it okay, or rather, does the person have the right to sell something, or rather in this case board games, with rather less than noble intentions or methods or practices. Alright, and it starts with this person, or rather this story is about this person called Lenz, L-E-N-Z, on the Singapore meetup forums. You know, to what I know, and I play with over 100 people, no one has ever played with this guy before, and you only find him on the sales forums basically. And I won't give his real name, but his nick is L-E-N-Z. Alright, and he's still let's say active today, but not as much as when before a big fiasco with him happened. And so the first thing that happened was that when I first joined the Monday group, great group to play with, what happened was that people started talking about him already. He already had a reputation. You know, I don't buy that many games from the sales areas because, well, to be honest, I feel they're not very good deals in the first place. But he already had a reputation for some very, very bad practices and almost underhanded ways of doing things. Give you an example. Before the big fiasco happened, there was one time there was a guy who was giving away a game absolutely free. Alright, and he said in his post that I want to give this game away, I'm not playing it, I hope it finds a go home that will be played. Anybody who just wants to turn up the house, you're more than welcome to come and you can pick it up. And that's the only caveat, first come first serve. Now this guy Lenz, he somehow gets the game. What the strange part and what really kind of started people off in a way was that he suddenly, a period of time later, that exact game would turn up for sale. Now, to be fair, alright, I did not see this game. I don't know whether it's the exact copy. Alright, like, and a tactic he would use is that when caught, or rather, maybe it's the truth, I'm not too sure, but I really seriously doubt it as you see how the story progresses. Maybe it's another game that he's helping someone else sell. Alright, maybe. I truly doubt it, but maybe. But that same game would pop up for sale. So if let's say it was that game, he got a game for free, which the person specifically said, please, I want to give this a home where it will be played, and he's selling it for a profit. Now again, with a lot of people I talk to, it's his right. He got the game, it's his right to sell the game. Alright, maybe he played the game, he didn't like it, then now, but again, it's that intention. Alright, you got a game for free. If you didn't like it, I think the right thing to do would be to give the game away for free again. But again, like I say, it's a capitalist world, and I totally understand. So stuff like that happens, that his reputation has already been along this length. This particular thing that happened, which I just told, was the first time I heard of him. And I was told this by many people who sell quite constantly on the forums, who have a good reputation basically. So we go to the main story. Alright, and this happened when there was a particular person moving home, alright, in Singapore, and he was basically selling his own whole collection. I think it was his collection, or almost his whole collection. And he basically said the same thing. He was selling it for a price, but it was incredibly cheap. And he also openly said that many of the games are really old, there are mold and issues and all of that. But imagine a out of print game, like I think one was like Pericles or something like that, and he's selling it at $10. You know, I mean, and not all the games, mind you, are super moldy and all that. A lot of the games that got sold, I saw on other people who actually got the games, and you know, is it in best condition? No, but it's not a bad condition. If you got something like that for $10, it's a good price. And here's a whole, I mean, there were a lot of games on sale, right? So everybody tried to get into that sale because there were fantastic games in there, even some that I wanted. And of course, I didn't get it. But he also said that he didn't want to just give everything to one person. There were people offering him, like, I'll buy the entire set for this much. And he said, you know, I want to spread it about. So some people got it. And of course, as usual, the lens guy got some of them. Alright? Now, for the underhanded practices of somehow he always seems to get there, I'll talk about later. But let's continue with the story. First on, he got some of the games. So on the day itself, when the person said, I'm opening my home, people come and collect the whole day, you know, I'll be home. He went there, he got his games, but he didn't leave the home. You know, from a first-hand source, what happened was he basically got his games, and throughout the period he was there, he didn't leave. He told, to what I hear, he told the owner that, you know, I'll just, you know, I have nothing else to do, I'll just stay around. And throughout that period, you know, he would try to undercut the people that were turning up to get their games. You know, let's say a guy is supposed to turn up at 5:18 p.m. to get the game, and then the person is somewhat late or something like that. He would say like, oh, you know, look, this guy's not gonna turn up. Tell you what, I'll give you double the price for them, which is still like $20 for an out of print game and all. Alright? So he was trying to undercut other people who the owner had already agreed to give the games to. Again, I was not there. I have to openly say this is a source that I have, which I trust infinitely. Alright, so he was trying to undercut them and trying to get more games out of but he didn't care that these games were promised to other people and they are from a fellow board game community. Alright, he was just trying to get what he could. Again, capitalist thing. And as one person put it, it felt slimy. You know, it's like that snake oil statement like, hey buddy, you sure you don't want to sell it to me? I'll give you $5 extra. You know, it's really felt like that. I mean, even I hearing it, I was like, oh, that was horrible. So here's the thing. That was over. Everybody got their games. Alright? And for the most part, everybody was happy. The storm happened when, again, after some time, games that this guy got from that sale seemingly started to pop up on this guy's sales list under Lens. Alright? Again, no one's seen the game, but it was kind of weird that that one game suddenly started popping up to be sold. The guy got a few games, and one of the games started to pop out on the sales list. Now, like I said, this guy is already well known, especially among sellers. They're more they know him from his bad practices more than me. So a lot of people already weren't happy on offline, and one person got so pissed off that he created a no more Lens account, you know, which is basically the guy's real face, and you put a no smoking sign kind of symbol over his face, and no more Lens, and started to just pour these things out about his behaviors, about, you know, questioning on how can you take these games that this person gave for such a cheap price and now sell it basically to make a significant profit off it than what you got it for. And of course, when this happens, a lot of people join, a lot of people just join the bandwagon in a way, but I feel with some right, that because there were several people. There was one person who he used to have dealings as a seller to this Lens individual. Alright, and what he said was this guy is not only a bad seller, he's a bad buyer. This particular individual, I won't say his name, but he had put up a post selling some games at a good price. This Lens individual was just incessant. He would message non-stop, you know. And for the first, like, there was one I remember where he sent a message saying, look, I'm interested in this game. The guy said, hey, great, alright, when would you like to pick it up and all that. The guy replies, Lens basically replies back, hey, look, you know, actually I saw another guy, he was selling it at this price. You know, so I don't think it's fair I pay this much, because that one was this much. I think you had to lower your price. The guy, you know, then the guy basically replied something along the lines like, you know, basically after several of these kind of silly conversations, the guy just said, you know what, I'm not selling to you. You know, thank you very much. I think I'd rather keep the game. And just thought it was over. Not so. The guy kept, this lens into it, kept messaging him, telling him, hey, okay, look, I'll pay you $5. How about $5 more? You know? I mean, $5 less than what you asked for. Then after that, okay, fine, I'll buy it at the price you wanted. So you see, it was incessant. Even as a buyer, he's like, again, like I said, that feeling of that slimy snake also, just trying everything he can to get a buck off you. Alright, so that's one of the stories that came about this guy. It's a bad buyer. So a lot of these things started happening, not just this particular individual, but a lot of people came in and basically weighed in. And many actually gave experiences. Some even cut and paste from their phone conversation. Again, things can be doctored. I have to be absolutely fair here. But for the most part, I think I've seen these people around also. So for the most part, I don't think I don't think they would just put in the time to doctor some information just for this. But there was a lot of conversation. A lot of it, here's the thing, by numbers, were negative on him. Alright? So, the thing is, then at first he ignored it. I think the smart thing to do was to ignore everything. But then he couldn't take it anymore. You know, this normal lens guy, on top of that, this guy with just the avatar of the real face of this lens individual crossed out, started to give information, but started to be somewhat, even I felt that this was a bit, should have just stuck to the, you know, facts. He started to use some abusive language. Alright? And so the lens guy finally replied. But here's the thing, he didn't reply in a fashion that was, let's say, calm or collected. He started to be condescending. You know, again, I wish I could read the exact one to you, but basically, I hate it when people use big words or try to be high class when, you know, their own behavior is anything less than high class. You know, basically he was using very big words. When you read it, to me, it felt like someone who's like, oh, you peasant, how dare you talk to me? I have a right to sell like that. You know, it felt like that. It really did, you know. And this is at this point where someone which I really feel is a very good person, alright, a top individual. Again, I won't give any information because maybe more than likely he wants to be anonymous on this, but again, very bravely he came in as his own self, alright, and he said, you know what, I was there, I saw this game, alright, I want you to put out the picture of the game you're selling, and I can identify it. You know, and of course, and here's the thing, on top of that, a lot of people were using somewhat abusive language against Lens. Emotions were running rampant, and like I said again, this guy's reputation wasn't that good already. But again, I also felt you shouldn't be using abusive language just for the long run, to keep the facts, just keep it as facts to educate people. Alright? Because you can't help but feel that when someone uses abusive language, they are biased. So, this friend of mine, he comes in and he basically says things very calmly, he doesn't abuse, he says like, and he gives the Lens point of view too. You know, look, he says like, guys, calm down, alright? For the most part, it's his right to sell. If he got the game even for free, he has a right to sell it at that price, alright? But at the same time, we are a community, and if we're not supporting it and we're trying to cut each other down, this community is going to disappear and no one profits. And on a side note, my friend's not saying this, but I never understood why you're trying to make a profit in all things in the world of board game community. Alright, is it that profitable? Like, even the big publishers are making ton of money for, you know, no one being multi-billionaires and multi $200-300 million success stories here. Anyway, back to my friend's point. Basically, it came down, if you were, it's your right to sell as the way you want, but, you know, it would be nice if you did things more honorably. Alright? So So that came down to that. And he was very factual. He gave all the points and everything. And here's the thing. This Lens guy was already replying to a few people calling, again, with that snarky kind of how dare you insult me, peasant attitude. This guy comes in calmly, stating the fact, saying he can identify it. And one of the things, sorry, I forgot to say was that when this particular normal Lens individual talked about how that game was the game he got from this seller he got for a very cheap price, the guy said, no, you are just assuming you are a, you know, you're like a low-class person or something like that. I can't remember the exact word. But this is a game I'm actually selling for a friend. I still have my copy I got from this guy, and that's not the same game. That was his excuse. So now remember, my friend came in and said, look, I can identify it. Show me the picture. Take a picture of it. Guess what? Lens didn't reply then. That was when he stopped replying. You know, when someone could finally stand up and prove it, he didn't take the chance. Again, even like I say, all these things, I'm not there, I have not seen the game. But with evidence like that, you kind of go like, that's really slimy. You know, doesn't that feel slimy to you? So throughout all this, it was after this point when my friend replied that I too decided to just weigh in. And I too, with my own face, and on top of that, I just basically came in. I didn't use any abusive language, but I just gave my point like I have now. That you're allowed to do what you want. No one can deny that you did nothing illegal. But you know, you should, if you do things like that, you should be ready for the consequences. Alright? And we are again the same thing, we are a community, and I really feel we shouldn't be taking advantage of each other to this level. Alright? So that whole thing happened. And this normal Lens guy continued his crusade, so to speak, alright, after that. Now, for a short interim, what happened was when this whole fiasco was happening, we were still meeting up at a game store to play on Monday with this other the person who replied very fairly. And we were talking after the gaming session and supper about this whole fiasco. Because it's pretty big, it happened, you know, there was a lot of discussion on this, alright. And one guy, I remember, he was talking about who is this normal Lens. And I have been, as from these videos, some people would know, I have a very vocal, how you say, temperament of non-tolerance to certain behavior. And one person was, a lot of people must have thought it was me. Alright, I'm not going to come out and say that it wasn't me. If I want to say something like that, I'll say it with my own face. But I wasn't offended, but I like the fact that he said like, oh, I don't know who that Lens guy is, and then he thought I wasn't looking his way, and he went to another guy like that, and he basically pointing like it was me. And I just turned around and said like, guys, it's not me. If I want to say something, I say something with my face. Alright. So and on the point, the normal Lens guy, like I said, I don't think anything he did was also along the lines of horrible. He was just trying to educate people. He couldn't take this bad behavior anymore. Only thing I ask from that normal Lens guy, if he is watching some weird way, stick with the facts. Don't use the bad language and stuff like that. You know, it kind of devalues your own point, because a lot of things he said was very fair, normal Lens. But try not to use bad language, is all I ask. So and you might think the story ends there. It doesn't. It's so weird, it doesn't. What happened after that is that Lens disappeared from the sales forums. He disappeared. Of course, that's a smart thing to do, right? And then, again, this guy gets more and more sleazy and slimy by the minute. Someone else started posting up under a different avatar. But here's the thing that guy was selling was the stuff that Lens was selling. So again, normal Lens and a few other people spotted this, and they said like, whoa, you're selling for this Lens guy, or either you're Lens, aren't you? And again, so they started coming in and saying like, look at this game was here, and this game was, you know. So they did the investigative Sherlock Holmes, and for the most part, I do believe it. It seems very compelling evidence. And on top of that, the same thing happened. The guy took down his post from sale. But then again, this guy might be totally innocent, and if he is, I feel really bad for him, but the evidence is quite compelling that basically the Lens individual was using this guy to, or rather this avatar, to sell the games under different kind of avatar. That was it. Nowadays Lens is still there. Alright, for the most part I think people try to stay away from it. I hope, and from my personal standpoint, I really feel this is one guy you just shouldn't buy things from. Because here's the thing, yes, his stuff might be on the good deal, right? Yes, if you don't care about where it came from, and just like when people buy, you know, so like ivory and all that, or whether they don't care where it came from, then that's fine. But the problem, of course, is if he has this behavior when he's selling to you, if you open the game and major pieces are missing, do you think this guy's gonna care to repay you or to do the right thing for you, on you, to, let's say, compensate you a certain bit or something like that? I don't think so. I wouldn't trust the guy at all, to be honest. I know, truth be told, he is. This is the one guy I played with about 132 people. Alright, I have about 8 people in my blacklist. This is one of them, and he's the only guy on the blacklist I've never played with before. Only because, you know, enough evidence is presented to me that this guy is just plain slimy. But first, before we end, let's address the issue on his point of view. Is he right? And I talked a lot. Here's the decisive thing. Alright, I agree. It's his right to sell the game at whatever price he wants, to take advantage of whoever he wants. You know, I talked to several and they tell me like, Bin, you know, you can't say that, you know, it's capitalism, he's the right to sell, it's his game, he can do whatever he wants with it. And I agree. But he must be ready for the consequences then. I'm going to say something quite controversial. Let's say, and I always use this example because it hits a nerve. Let's say a guy wants to, and I'm not advocating this, alright, but for sake of argument, let's say a guy rapes children. Alright? But he's willing to take every consequence. And he admits it's wrong. He's basically being absolutely logical about it. Alright, he knows it's wrong, but he still does it anyway, knowing he's a bad person, or doing what in the social aspect of the current culture is wrong. And let's say then that someone then rapes the children that he loves, and he goes, you know what? Fair enough. And when he's caught, he's willing to be punished under the law and everything like that. Is that guy wrong? Philosophically, he's wrong for doing the act. The act itself is horrible. But in this case, it's kind of hard for me to say that he's absolutely garbage, because he accepts all the consequences. And just like when slavery was totally, you have to link this to another one that which is very admirable. Like when slavery was totally rampant, and there were people standing up to it, and we said like, you know, what's the big deal? You know, people using excuses of eugenics, like we are better than them, therefore they should be slaves, we're helping, we're giving them culture. And these few people stood up and said, on the contrary, this is unfair. Same thing, both people were willing to take the consequences of standing out. And so, same thing with Lens. Can I say he was absolutely wrong? No, he has every right to sell the way he is. The thing I could not stand was then when he comes out and he doesn't admit he's wrong, and that there was nothing wrong with him, with all the evidence showing basically that he took these games at a cheap price, or when people wanted to give them to good homes, and he just basically wanted to take them to turn a profit. And again, like I said, no one I know has ever played a game with this guy. You know, I'm sure he plays games, but I'm sure he's not a strong. But I'm quite firm that he's not a gamer that plays a ton, because I said no one sees him before. No one I know has ever even played with him. People only see him whenever there's an auction sale or something like that. Maybe he plays with some home group, I don't know, but it's one of those things. But it's that willingness to just admit it. If he had just come out on that point of when the big fiasco happened and said, you know what, it's my right to sell, if you're not happy, please just don't look, I strangely would have said like, yeah, okay, bravo. He didn't try to defend the bad behavior, he in fact admitted it, but it is right. But of course when he starts to lie and everything, it's like, oh no, this game I'm selling it for someone else, and then when someone can prove it, he doesn't take it, I'm sorry. You know, even on a logical aspect anymore, You know, you want your cake and eat it. It's just like one guy I know who wants to be a multi-millionaire, successful entrepreneur. Alright, and he's a nice kid. But he doesn't want, more importantly, to ever say that. He kept saying, I will always, in his word, I will always do it morally. And we all know in business that's not always the case, you know. So when someone can only say the good things to tell everybody but doesn't want to admit the bad things, I can't respect that. Alright, so that's to address that issue on the other side of it, which, so I hope I'm giving a fair aspect on both sides. So that is the right to sell. And another terrible tale, so gaming horror. So thank you very much. Till next word.